is so hot. The debate is going to be hot.
I thought the news was
Capital Conversation.
Hello, I'm Todd Purdom.
And I'm Dee Dee Myers.
And welcome to another edition of Capital Conversation. Dee Dee, politics in Washington is like the weather in New England these days. Stick around, it'll change. When the year began, there were 5 major independent investment banks. Now there are 2, and they're not even really traditional investment banks. Last night they got the power to do everything a commercial bank can do, take deposits, so forth and so on. What is going on here?
Well, it's just been a roller coaster of a week. I don't think anyone knew at the beginning of last week how things would look at the beginning of this week, but here we are, the biggest economic restructuring since the Great Depression.
And what's happening with the campaign? What are the implications for the campaign in that?
Well, I think we've seen over the last week a complete restructuring of the campaign, a reframing of the debate from sometimes ridiculous issues about lipstick on pig into something much more serious, which is what is the state of the economy, what are the risks, and what are we going to do about it?
You know, in fairness, a week ago we talked about how Senator McCain was running some very misleading ads about Senator Obama. We should probably now note that the Obama campaign has come back with some very unfair and misleading ads about John McCain, including one comparing him to Rush Limbaugh and accusing him of being anti-immigrant when in fact he really worked very hard to get that compromise on immigration
I still
legislation.
think, though, the balance of misleading ads, the winner is the McCain campaign, including one that tried to attach Obama to Franklin Raines, the former head of Fannie Mae, someone who's never, according to both the campaign and Mr. Raines, given the campaign any advice about
anything,
financial issues or anything else. So I think they're trying to inoculate themselves against McCain's ties to these big institutions, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
The tone is definitely pretty nasty, though, in a way that I think maybe 6 months ago I wouldn't have predicted. They both said they'd run a kind of high-toned campaign.
But I always thought that was a little bit ridiculous because once the stakes are, this was always going to be a close election. It's an electorate that's evenly divided. We have 2 candidates with great strengths and great weaknesses. And when push comes to shove and it's close and the presidency's on the line, all of the mudslinging, it all comes out, and these things always end up reverberating into whatever is going to help one side win.
I've really been a little bit surprised to realize, though, at a certain level, they don't like each other very much. Senator McCain clearly thinks Senator Obama is not ready for prime time, and Senator Obama thinks that Senator McCain is a grouchy old coot. I think they really, there's a personal sort of...
It has gotten personal. I think particularly in as this has gotten closer again, I think it's gotten personal. And I think John McCain likes to have an enemy that is really vilified. Whether it's the lobbyists or the campaign finance laws or his opponents in previous elections or Barack Obama. He really likes to have somebody it's a black and white thing with him. He likes to put the white hat on and put the black hat on his opponent.
Now, this week is going to end with the first big face-to-face encounter debate in Oxford, Mississippi, supposedly on foreign policy moderated by Jim Lehrer of PBS. Don't you feel pretty sure that they'll talk about international finance, too, as part of foreign policy?
Right, absolutely. And it will be an interesting context in which to have the first debate. I think a lot of people will be watching this. It seems like, we had a couple of weeks where there was a lot of lipstick on pig kind of issues, and now it's reverted to something much, much more serious. And I think that will carry over into the debate, probably draw a huge audience, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. I think there may be a record audience. The interesting thing is that in the primaries, neither one was a terrific debater. Senator Obama usually didn't wow people. He usually came in sort of well behind Senator Clinton on points in most debates. Senator McCain, he did okay, but he could get a little flustered, and he clearly did not like debating Mitt Romney. Something about Mitt Romney bothered him. I think it's possible he could show a little flash of that temper in debating Obama.
And if I was Barack Obama, I would look for a couple of ways to get right into that temper, to make him, jump him off his game. Didn't seem to be that hard in the primaries.
How would you try to make him mad?
Well, I think by challenging his honor. I think he's run, in many ways, there have been dishonorable elements to his campaign, and I think by using the word honor and suggesting that maybe he's willing to sacrifice his honor to win an election could get him to come out of his skin a little bit.
And what should McCain do to try to get Obama off his game?
That's a good question. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. Obama, sometimes is not good with a short and snappy answer. If McCain is very direct and seems to give very crisp answers, that could make Obama look like he's wandering around in the forest by comparison. So maybe if he just keeps his answers really short and seems very decisive. I mean, President Clinton famously said the voters would rather have somebody who looked wrong and strong than weak and right.
Right.
So.
And that was certainly the case at the Saddleback event, which was with Reverend Rick Warren a few weeks ago, where McCain's answers seemed straightforward, straight from the heart, short, crisp, and Obama sometimes seemed to be trying to skirt some difficult issues, and that really didn't play very well for him.
Again, we say this every week, but the one thing we know is that next week the word will have turned again, and maybe there won't be any investment banks left in America. So join us for another Capital Conversation, a recap of the debates and all the news.
And everything that's happened between now and then. See you here.